probably starts recording.
Motherfucker. Fucking kill myself. All right. So we are all set up now to go. Give me 1 second. I don't need to run 2 screens. Turn that one off. Put you guys on the right side. Outline is gonna go. Not that far. Try to make the outline like smaller. I should literally just put like whoosh. Okay, I'm ready to go if you guys are.
Yep.
I'm good.
So, Super Bowl, Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, worst takes type thing.
Sounds good.
On the outline.
I organized the outline earlier a little
Yeah,
bit.
I liked what Mike did.
All right, let's go. Mike, you want to kick it off?
Sure. What happened to James?
He's just turned the light on.
Yeah, I just turned the light on.
Okay. We back, bitches.
Oh. Where are we?
Beantown Shakedown. It's been a while. We figured that Super Bowl talk would be a good way for us to get back into it a little bit. I think our last podcast was like 5 years ago now?
Maybe 4.
That makes me feel old.
4 years ago.
Something like
We're
that.
all young Franklin Pierce alumni at that point. Well, some of us were.
Yeah, hey. Some of us have decided we don't like the word alumni.
It's
all right.
Jam-packed show. We got some Super Bowl stuff, Celtics, some big NBA news that happened today.
Huge.
Red Sox talk, and maybe some recaps of former Beantown Shakedown podcasts from the early years later.
Oh, that's going to be rough. So, kicking off with the Super Bowl, I guess, and we get to talk about the people who've been here for forever. We just keep it rolling, Mike. It's a great life we live.
It is.
Just getting to come back here each year.
Yeah, so it's a good time to be a Boston sports fan, that's for sure. 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. It's just absurd. Or 3 straight Super Bowls, and then 4 in 5 years. That's just an absurd thing to me. It's just, you can't put it into words, how ridiculous that success is. Just even without all Super Bowl wins, it's just insane.
Have they been to 6 this decade?
Yeah,
11,
the
14,
second Giants was 2011.
Yeah, 5
this decade.
this decade.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
That's kind of ridiculous. I don't know how you feel about this game, Mike, but I'm always getting a little nervous. And then I read something terrifying yesterday that was on the way to starting this, they played the Rams and the Eagles, and now near the end of this, they played the Eagles and then the Rams, and they already lost one of those, and this is just happening in reverse on the way out the door.
People forget the Panthers. People forget the Panthers, though.
That doesn't count. That was against Jake Delhomme.
Yeah, we still. I don't know. I mean, how I feel about this game, I'm always cautiously optimistic with the Patriots in Super Bowls, and I feel like that cautious optimism turns into just cautious because of just the way they play in Super Bowls. It's I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think a lot of people are saying that the Patriots are going to beat the Rams by multiple touchdowns, but I don't see that.
So I feel like every Super Bowl they say the Patriots are going to win by multiple touchdowns, and they really haven't handled business in a Super Bowl yet. I mean, they've won clearly, but they've never made it easy on themselves.
Was the Super Bowl they won the most handily the Eagles won?
By points, it's the Atlanta one.
Oh, right.
But that's because it was overtime. And the touchdown just made it 6.
Game-wise, I'd probably say it was the Eagles. Like, the Patriots were pretty much in control of that whole game. Like, I know it got tight at the end, but...
Yeah, like, it was a 3-point game because the Eagles stormed back and then ran out of time because Andy Reid decided to take his time.
It's just like a gift that keeps on giving that guy in timeouts. It's just like...
No, they were down by 10 and then took like 8 minutes to drive the field. They scored a touchdown and there were 30 seconds left.
I just remember everyone around me getting really nervous, and then all of a sudden it was just like they were just like, "Yeah, we have all the time in the world," and like everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have to worry at all."
McNabb's just like strolling to the line, calling out audibles, nice and slow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Other than that, all the Super Bowls have been close.
Yeah, my big fear with this game is like I don't know if the Patriots have played a team with this good of a pass rush. I mean, it's like saying because they're the best pass rush in the NFL, but like they haven't, and that it always tends to be like their undoing. And like the line has played exceptionally well in the playoffs, but it hasn't at times in the season. And then the Rams running game, like that was like that run with that ridiculous Miami game in the middle was like the worst run defense I've ever seen. So it's like what Patriots team shows up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the one thing that I heard too is I think the reason why the Patriots are so good in the regular season as opposed to maybe like in the Super Bowl is because the big thing that they have is preparation. They always seem to be better prepared than every other team. But with 2 weeks into the Super Bowl instead of 1, that gives the other team more time to prepare for the Patriots. So that kind of like levels the playing field in a way.
And that's a historical thing because I don't know what the exact numbers are, but when it's 2 weeks as opposed to 1, they've had the point differential's been like 4 since they switched to 2 weeks, and then when it was 1 week, you had so many blowouts. You know, the Super Bowl was mostly blowouts up until 20 years ago when they started finally getting closer.
Yep. So I think that's something that the Rams have on their side. I agree. I think the line is just absurdly good, especially with Aaron Donald and Sue, and I know Fowler has been good this season as well. But I think closest comparison that the Patriots have faced since then is probably the Chargers defensive line, which they did pretty well against. I'm not saying that, you know, Bose is on the same level as like Aaron Donald, but in terms of talent on the line, that's probably the closest team.
Well, luckily on this podcast, we have one of the 5 actual Rams fans in the country.
The last St. Louis Rams fan in the country.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, this probably chased them all out at this point, right? Like, they're all just like, oh, they made the Super Bowl, now we have to, like, really hate them?
Yeah. No, pretty much. I saw a meme. It was just a map of, like, who everybody's rooting for in the Super Bowl. Like, California was the Rams. Or, like, everything was the Rams except for Louisiana, New England, and then this one dot where St. Louis is, like this one small dot.
not even all of Missouri, because Kansas
No. Because the Kansas City Chiefs fans on the other side of Missouri want the Rams, but no, just this one small dot, like where St. Louis was.
That's nice. So how are you feeling about this, James?
Oh, his Mike is cautiously optimistic. You guys know I'm traditionally pessimistic towards the Rams. It's been a little hard the last couple of years to be pessimistic, but no, like they're a team that they get really hot at some point every game. You saw it in the Dallas game. They scored every possession in the first half, kind of cooled off, and then they had to hold on tight at the end. Against New Orleans, they dug themselves a little hole and then come firing back. So they've done it all season. They get hot at one point, you can't stop them, and I think that's going to happen in this game. There's going to be a 3-4 drive stretch where the Rams just rattle off points, and then there's going to be a point in this game where the Rams can't move the ball at all. So I think if the Patriots get up big early, I'm not really going to feel that down yet. If the Rams get up early, I'm not going to feel that up yet. I think it's going to come down to the end. I saw Tony Romo's prediction was he wouldn't give a winner, but he said it's going to be 28-24, and the team that loses is going to have the ball and fail to score. So I feel like that's probably about what this game's going to be, something like that.
Ugh, that sounds terrible. None of that sounds fun.
I think the key offensively for the Rams is to run the ball, obviously. I mean, they have Todd Gurley, and fat C.J. Anderson has just emerged to be just the thunder to Todd Gurley's
he owns
lightning.
his weight.
It's so great. It's so much fun.
Awesome.
He's asked about it on media day, and he just goes, well, they can't tackle me. I'm that big.
I mean, my thing is, though, the Patriots have been so good in shutting down receivers this postseason with their man-to-man coverage, and I think that it'll really come down to the running game for the Rams.
And one thing I'll say about the Rams is they're very fluid. You saw the playoff game against Dallas. They controlled the clock. They ran the crap out of the ball. They had two guys go over 120 yards. You know, they had the ball for like 40 minutes of that game. You watch something like the Chiefs game in the regular season, they can make it a track meet too. So they can play multiple styles. And I think, as Mike said, the Patriots have done a good job with their man coverage, shutting down receivers. So this might be a game where they have to control the ball. But, you know, they can, however the game goes, they can make adjustments, and they can play any way you want them to play on offense. I think that's one of the things McVay's brought.
Have they switched out of that same offensive set that they've been using all year?
They kind of had to, because the first half of the season, they're using the same 11 guys.
Right.
Every single one. When Cooper Kupp went down, you have a mix of, now you can use two tight ends, or you can use Josh Reynolds. So they do change it up a little bit. I think one key to the Rams is, and there's a funny, kind of another funny meme that Rams fans use, it's, did Gerald Everett make a random 45-yard catch in the fourth quarter? Like, if yes, you won. If no, you didn't. Because I think that guy just gets forgotten. Like, he had that winning touchdown against the Chiefs out of nowhere. He had the final drive when the Rams had a minute to go down, kick a field goal. Like, Everett gets 30 yards on his own. Like, that's just a guy that the backup tight end, I think people just forget about, and he has a knack for making really random big plays.
Well, that's interesting. So what are you most worried about with the Rams?
The secondary has been very inconsistent throughout the year. It's been better because Talib missed most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that had a big part to do with it. So they looked good towards the end of the year, but just the secondary had some issues. Marcus Peters is the most inconsistent player I've ever seen. The guy gives up 80-yard touchdowns, and then the guy makes incredible pick sixes where he's just grabbing his crotch on the way to the end zone. So it's a wild ride sometimes, but I have to go with the secondary.
Cool. Mike, what are you most worried about with the Patriots?
I also think it's the defense. I mean, you saw last year in the Philly Super Bowl, they couldn't stop teams on third down, and that was the big outlier. And the Patriots really didn't change anybody defensively from last year to this year. So outside of like Jason McCourty, who's still like the Pats' third cornerback. So I think that's my big fear. I would say the offensive line has been so good. I know that defensive line is amazing, but it's hard to be worried with how good they've played. I think that Donald and Sue will obviously make some noise, but I think it's really going to come down to if the Patriots can stop the Rams.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. So, predictions time. Who wants to go first? James? First Super Bowl in forever?
Yeah, in forever. Yeah, I don't think I've picked the Rams once this year, so I'll have to go against them one more time. I'm gonna go something like 35-31.
Oof. That doesn't sound like a fun game.
No, not for anybody.
Mike, how we feeling?
I'll go 33-30 Patriots.
I should have checked my squares before this and just picked something that would have benefited me financially. I'm just seeing a pain in the ass of a game that's just like very painful to watch like the entire time. It's something like 17-14. And I think I'm picking the Rams. Yeah, just like a dog fight to get.
If it's 17-14 and the Rams win, there's like a 50% chance Johnny Hecker's the MVP of that game, right?
Yeah, no,
exactly. He pins him deep 3 or 4 times and converts a fake punt.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just like that Red Sox fan pre-04 who just sees like disaster coming everywhere. And like the Giants game, I can't even remember the punter, Steve Weatherford, who just like killed us that whole game. Like anytime he touched the ball, I was like, he's gonna fuck this punt off, and he couldn't. And I was just like sitting there being like, what the hell are they supposed to do? Drive 90 yards every drive?
Because it wasn't even a return. He was putting it out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Like there was literally nothing you could do.
Ugh, yeah. So I'm seeing lots of yelling on Sunday.
Well, I have to work for the Super Bowl, so I can't really be too crazy.
Are you working, James?
No, they don't want me there. I'm working in the morning.
All right. Well, I guess the only other news out of the NFL was a lot of news about Josh Gordon popping up this week and like being an outpatient treatment. And
I can never decide if I feel bad for that guy or not. Like I do, but at some point, like,
yeah, what seemed really different about this one was like a lot of talk about the Patriots' attempts to help him.
Well, they're paying for his rehab.
Yeah, but like I felt like I never heard that out of the Browns, and maybe that's because the Browns have bad PR, which like shocker of the century. But
look, they gave him 400 chances. Like they were somewhat behind him.
Right, they were somewhat behind him, but yeah, I don't know. Like I do feel bad for the guy personally, but I mean, like I see where James is like.
Look, like
I think he needs to get himself clean first before he can think about football. Like he needs to really figure out his personal life before. Yeah. Like I think the thing is he leans on football as a crutch to get better, but he should be leaning on getting better to get better first, and then everything else will follow. Because like
be good for a year before you try to come back, like something like that.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. But
I feel bad for the guy. Obviously, you know, it's a shitty situation, but he needs to be able to he needs to figure out his own stuff first before he.
Yeah, like I'm definitely not rooting against him. I love watching him play. He's really fun, like as a player to watch. He's, you know, I enjoy it. So I want him to be good and on the field, but he just has to do it.
Yeah, I could definitely see him never playing again. Like, I would honestly be more surprised if he played again.
I don't even know if he'd be able to be reconsidered to come back in, though, after how many chances he's had.
Yeah.
You know, the NFL just might be like, that's it.
Like, a team can't count on him either. Like, that's the other side of it. Like,
that's true. Yeah, I feel like it would have to be in, like, such a low-pressure situation or plays in the CFL for like a year first and some situation like that. That's the only way I could ever see it coming back.
The XFL's coming back.
Oh yeah.
That's probably not a great environment for him.
That's definitely the worst spot for him. No.
The NFL is a little better situation than that. For many reasons.
Ugh. Okay, well, James, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
I hope something terrible happens to all of your players. But a subject we can agree upon is the Boston Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the only thing we agree? Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
And we had some fun basketball news today.
Just unbelievable basketball news.
What happened in that meeting?
I'm telling you, he made fun of the kazoo playing. So to review, Kristaps Porzingis requests a trade, and like it was a spelling error, Woj corrects his tweet to say he didn't request a trade, he was traded.
Yeah, no, next tweet.
Next tweet. Yeah, no, he made fun of James Dolan's kazoo playing. It's the fastest way out of the building. It's the only answer.
Because I remember, I saw the tweet, like, Kristaps Porzingis requested trade, and I just screamed, Alexa, please stream ESPN 98.7 out of New York. And then by the time it comes on, they're like, yeah, he's been traded to Dallas. I'm like, wait, what? It was that fast?
Listen, that's some service. That's some, like, I want to leave. Okay, go to Dallas.
There's got to be something. If they were willing, because Kristaps Porzingis had no leverage. He was going to be a restricted free agent, so the Knicks can match any offer, which they would have because he's good and talented. The guy had zero leverage, and they just met his request in 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, I think it was more so about getting the expiring contracts because they want to go after people, and Porzingis is like the only thing that they have to give up to trade. I mean, I don't know. They're just. I don't know why they think that people would come to New York. That's my thing.
Yeah,
like,
James.
If you go to the Knicks, you're going to the Knicks to go to New York. You're not going to play for that dumbass franchise.
James and I were talking about this before. I think maybe before you got on. But it surprises me less and less what the Knicks do, and surprises me more and more that a competent, like really smart basketball owner hasn't just jumped up and bought the Nets to be like, oh, I can just run New York basketball.
Yeah.
Because it would be so easy for some smart basketball owner to buy the Nets and just run New York basketball, and because the Knicks are run by a moron.
Yeah, because like we were saying too beforehand, they want Kyrie and Durant. Like, that's probably their big offseason. Why would Kyrie and Durant want to go there? They're going to end up settling for, like, Kemba and
Marcus Morris, 4 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
What was the one I sent you earlier? Paul Millsap and someone else? Oh, Chris Middleton and Paul Millsap on max deals.
But, like, why would Kyrie and KD want to go there?
It makes sense if they go together. Because Knox looks good, and then that draft pick looks phenomenal right now.
Yeah.
They have the worst record in the league.
If it ends up being Zion,
it's gonna, like, they're either gonna land 2 stars or they're gonna get absolutely nobody. Because nobody's gonna go there alone. That's the thing.
No one's going alone. Because no one wants to be the person who tried. No one wants to be Carmelo.
Exactly.
No one wants to be Carmelo. They saw what happened.
Yeah,
like you can't go through the wall and get bloody. You gotta blow up the wall and then go through. Like,
yeah. Ugh. My favorite tweet was Jason Gilbert from the New York Times. This Porzingis trade means the Knicks have enough money in this offseason to pursue 2 or even 3 new PR people to explain why they didn't sign Kevin Durant. But in other free agent / trade request news, we have Anthony Davis wanting out of New Orleans. And the most likely destination for him would seem to be LA, but New Orleans won't pick up the phone.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait until the offseason to see what the Celtics can do, because the Celtics obviously have the best package that they can give them. Like, I think Kuzma's a nice little player, and I think Ingram's not bad, but I don't see Lonzo being all that great, and I think Tatum's better than all 3 if you're willing to give up Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum's definitely better than all 3. Like, Lonzo, he's not going to lead the way. He's a great facilitator. He can defend. He can hold his own on that end. So he can be a big part of a championship team, but he's not going to get you there. And when you're trading Anthony Davis, Lonzo Ball's not going to excite you.
No. Yeah, I just don't see the reason for New Orleans to overreact here. Like, just wait it out. You'll have more options in the summer. You'll have more time. Like, you can just sit it out and let people kind of freak out then, and it just makes way more sense to wait.
Yeah, he's definitely not going at the deadline.
No. Because what's the Lakers' best offer? Ingram, Lonzo, Kuzma, and 3 draft picks?
Yeah, they basically got to give them everything they have just to say, like, well, this is everything we have, and it can't be beaten.
And then especially when you've Danny Ainge sitting back there being like, you can have Jason Tatum, or you can have these 5 draft picks I stole from someone.
Their best play is literally saying, Danny knows more than you. He's going to screw you. So no matter what you do, you can't win. Just come play with us.
It's actually true.
Like, if he says Tatum's available, that means something's wrong with him. You know that.
Yeah, that's a real problem with that Fultz thing not working out, huh? So are there any other teams that you guys could see him going to outside of Boston or LA?
I mean,
maybe the Knicks now, but I mean, what else? What do they have to trade?
they have the first pick in Kevin Knox, which Knox
if the
really
Pelicans,
good.
If the Pelicans were smart, they would have tried to get in on Porzingus.
Well, no, the
he
thing
could
is,
have been there.
You don't want to get that pick now because the second you get that pick, if Anthony Davis goes to the Knicks, they start winning games.
No, you don't get it now. I'm thinking in the summer.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming he's not moving. Yeah.
Oh, you mean okay? I think it's Boston and LA, honestly.
Yeah, the only other thing... Well, actually, I forgot the Knicks get Dennis Smith in this, who's also not a bad piece to trade either.
No, he didn't fit when Luka showed up in Dallas. Like, he
But
had a good rookie year, and he didn't fit anymore.
Right, he's a good trade shit too, but I just don't know if what New Orleans wants. I feel like Philly has a road, but you have to get real creative and take a big risk, and I feel like that team might be a little gun shy.
Philly's definitely gun shy now.
They're like going to be super gun shy, but like you could make like this like Simmons and like Zaire Smith and a draft pick or two.
A couple draft picks.
And you get back like Davis and Jrue Holiday, and then you have Anthony Davis, hopefully Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid. That's no, thank you.
I don't know if I want Jimmy Butler to leave Philly or stay and just keep tearing it apart.
No. Stay and let it burn.
Because both are pretty funny. Like,
yeah, him leaving would be pretty hysterical. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like if you're the Celtics. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, where do we think the Celtics stand right now in the East? Like, how, like, right now, Milwaukee looks good. Toronto looks really good. I'm not scared about the Sixers, but they're kind of good.
I know. We just seem to play all these good teams really well, and I think that will show up in the playoffs.
Look, I mean,
I still think we're making the finals. I don't care what seed we are. I don't know. I just have a feeling about this team. Like they seriously turn it on against the good teams.
Yeah, which I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of 2010, where they won like 47 games and then just snapped into it. But at least that team had championship. Like you had seen them win before, so it was easier to put all your eggs in that basket. But
yeah, they almost look bored some nights. Like, they just go out there and they're like, oh, yeah, we have to play tonight. And, like, the regular season doesn't matter to them, which is a little weird because they're clearly a better home team. And if you had a home court advantage seems to matter to them. So it's interesting to me. I think they're good. I'm interested to see if they make a move before the deadline to see if Rozier's still on this team after next week. So
I'm so confused with what to do because like you can't really pick up a rental vet to make you better because you're too deep for that to actually make you better. Like, what are you gonna like if you sell Rozier because you know you're not gonna sign him at the end of the year and he doesn't really like it there? What are you gonna? You have 4 first-round picks in the draft. What more are you gonna want? Like, it's just. I feel like they're gonna stay with this team because that's what's best at this point. Like.
I think they're just going to stay.
Is there a spot for a buyout guy if they eventually dump that Bird contract?
Yeah, the Jabari Bird. I want that thing to get clear because I know because of the CBA they can't cut him until the investigation's over. I don't know what's taking so long.
Yeah, that seems very odd to me. I thought they were going to be able to cut him like right away, or at least by now, so they could at least add a guy. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they're going to have room for anything. I mean, if you look at this team, if we're healthy, they're pretty deep already. Do they really need any? Like maybe like a 3-point shooter off the bench. It'd probably be my only thing, but
because right now, if you go to the playoffs, I think the game against Toronto and even Golden State showed it. You have your starting five, and then off the bench, Jalen, Aaron Baines, Rozier, and Hayward. I think that's your 9-man playoff rotation, and I guess if Hayward can't do it, Ojale. So
we forgot Tice too.
Yeah,
Tice. I mean, I know he's been kind of falling off, but
you also forgot Gershon, but that's okay.
No, he doesn't play. He doesn't play in the regular rotation, let alone like crunching it down for the playoffs.
So rude. Just so rude.
RJ Hunter is on this team for some reason.
I can't believe he came back.
People forget that.
People forget. It's like, that was a surprise this week. Him coming back. I didn't even know he was still in the league.
No, I love how like a bunch of people were commenting like, "See, we should have kept him over James Young the whole time," and I'm like, neither of them did anything. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
James Young.
I wonder what he's up to.
What could have been?
That's Colin's cold take.
Wasn't he with the Pelicans last year?
He was with, I think, a lot of teams last year. I think he kept signing.
It was a rough year.
I think he signed like 2-way contracts, got released in like 2 weeks later, and then he was with like 5 or 6 teams.
At one point, I believe he was on the 76ers too.
He was definitely on the Sixers at one point.
Ugh, yeah.
Kadeem Allen played for the Knicks last night. I didn't know he was on the Knicks until last night.
My God, I forgot about him.
Wow. Kadeem Allen.
Forgot about him.
That's a name.
But yeah, no, there's so much random former Celtics just bumming around places.
Speaking of former guys just bumming around places, the Red Sox seem to have found one this week and rounded out their bullpen.
God.
Jenry Magia. Just like lifetime bans are what, a year?
Dude, Pete, how mad is Pete Rose? Like after that guy got signed.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Like, does Pete Rose is he just scrolling through Twitter? He reads that his phone broke, right? He destroyed that thing.
Yeah. Wow. My favorite thing is we were talking the other night to one of our friends who is a recent baseball convert, Michael. Oh, yeah. He was asking us about our good friend Jenry Magia, and he asked what he cheated for. And in looking up what Magia was suspended for, Mike, did you know he was using horse grade steroids?
Yeah, so I actually looked this up the other day too when we signed him, and I was like, "What?"
Veterinary horse grade steroids. And you know what I said to myself? If I get a guy who cheats, I want a guy who's going to cheat all the way.
Oh yeah, he's using the stuff Kentucky Derby horses get banned for.
Yeah. If I'm getting a guy who's going to cheat, I want a guy who's going to cheat right. No, honestly, I think they end up re-signing Kimbrel.
So do I. I mean, unless
takes a massive pay cut.
No, I think they'll just throw money at him because no one's going to overpay for him. And I think it's going to end up being comfort over everything, and he's just going to say, "I'm already here." They're offering me 4 years. Take it.
Yeah, it's going to come down to, does he want to settle on a 4-year deal that the Red Sox have probably put on the table, or is he going to want to take a massive 2-year deal with the money per year he wants and then just hope the market gets better? Because right. I think team the $20 million a year he wants, I think a team would give him 2 for $40. I think there's a lot of teams that would do that. But is he going to take the 4-year guarantee and just walk back to Boston?
I think he ends up taking I think he takes security at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, like, that's the whole, like, Major League Baseball offseason, like, just, like, the never-ending, like, it never starts. It's the strangest thing in the world.
I think it's weird that, like, because this happened last year, and then Patrick Corbin signed, like, around Thanksgiving, like, that 6-year deal with the Nationals. We're like, okay, it's different. It's back. We're going to have fireworks again. And then after Patrick Corbin, nothing happened.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is. Go ahead.
Where do you guys think Machado and Harper are going to go? Because, like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys just haven't signed yet, especially the big guys.
Philly. One of them's going to be in Philly.
Machado goes to Philly. Harper goes to San Diego.
I don't understand the Padres and the White Sox, though. Like, they're both, like...
Money.
Yeah,
They both have the money.
I guess, yeah, but...
Harper strikes me as a guy who's going to go out to San Diego and be like, oh, it's great here. You mean I get to live here for 6 months? Sweet. And he's just going to be like, give me whatever money you want.
Yeah, because when you do these visits, you visit Philly in December. You visit the Bronx in December or any time of year.
Right, and then someone's going to drop $220 million in front of you and say, you get to live here in San Diego. You're going to be like, oh, great.
It's like my homeland of Vegas, but less sketchy.
Nice. I feel like that dude is going to hit like 1,000 doubles in Petco Park.
Bartolo Colon hit a home run there, so anything can happen.
This is very, very true. Nope.
It's going to be like, it's just, like, I feel like Nelson Cruz to the Twins for 2 years is one of the bigger deals that's happened, and that's just crazy, because I think Dallas Keuchel's out there, too. I think Keuchel's the guy that people have been forgetting about this whole offseason.
I forgot all about Keuchel, too. There's a lot of agents still left.
And I think Houston's gotten worse, like, a lot worse.
They signed, didn't they sign Grandal?
No, Milwaukee got Grandal. Houston got Michael Brantley.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
Which is good, because they're going to go bombs away and try to score a billion runs. Because if you get them in a series, they've got Verlander, he's really good. They've got Garrett Cole, he's really good. They lost Charlie Morton to the Tampa Bay. Lance McCullers is having Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year. If they don't re-sign Dallas Keuchel, I don't know who's their number 3. Like, they really bottom out. They don't have a starting pitching staff after. If you win one of those first 2 games in the series, you're going to win because they have nobody else.
And you have to hope that Verlander, was he 37?
Yeah, he's up there like 36, 37.
It's a lot of miles on that arm.
It's going to be like the Schilling Johnson Diamondbacks. Like, you're praying you steal one from them.
Yeah.
Right. And the other part about Brantley, though, is Brantley's not the healthiest guy in the world.
That's true.
So it's like you got to keep him on the field.
Yeah, they had like Jason Kipnis out there roaming around center field at one point last year.
It's not as bad as the Yankees' right field. Or left field, sorry. Fuck that up. Mike, do you know who the Yankees left fielders are?
Brett Gardner. Is he back with them? Did he resign with them?
Yes.
Jacoby Ellsbury. Well, he's an outfielder there.
And that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, because they signed what's-his-face. They got an infielder, didn't they?
The Yankees? They signed Tulowitzki.
They got DJ LeMahieu, too. They got
LeMahieu, yeah.
Yeah.
You can put LeMahieu at third, and Duhar, who's like the worst defensive third baseman I've ever seen, can play DH, and you can just shove Stanton out there and be like, okay, I hope this works.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can try that. It's not like...
Stanton played... Look, he's not a gold glover, but he played in the National League for most of his career. Like, he's played... It's not like you're sticking a random guy out there.
Yeah, the interesting thing is it seems like they're just building their lineup for their 80 games in their ballpark and then just being like, we'll figure out the road when we get there.
We'll beat Baltimore a bunch of times on the road because they're terrible. And
yeah.
Toronto. So we'll win 81 home games, and then
yeah, it just seems like what they're doing. They're just like, forget it. We'll win 90% of our home games, and we'll make the playoffs, and we'll figure it out when we get there. I don't know. I mean, the Red Sox didn't really do much of anything either. They let Drew Pomeranz go. Improvement. I mean,
they haven't done. I mean, I was a little upset we lost Joe Kelly. I mean, I would have paid him what he got in with the Dodgers just to be in the same role.
Not the years. I'm kind of fine.
Yeah, the 4 years was a lot, but
there are no opt-outs either, which is a long time to be attached to a guy who was in the minors like 2 years ago.
He's had such a weird career.
Yeah, he has.
He was starting World Series games for the Cardinals in 2013, and then kind of like bottomed out, and now he's a good reliever, and it's been weird. Ride
has been odd.
Do you think they do anything else the rest of the way? I mean, you said that they might bring back Kimbrel, but
Kimbrel or nothing. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think after Kimbrel, there's not many relief pitchers left after him. So
yeah, they'll probably pick up. I think they'll pick up Kimbrel. I don't see them doing like anything else, especially because they're either going to be at the well, actually with Kimbrel they'd probably be over, but I don't know where they are on the tax number, but I imagine they're probably not excited to pay that.
No.
I mean, because then you got to think like Chris Sale next year, who's been at a bargain at like $13 million.
That's the big thing. We have. I mean, he's going to be up. Bogarts is going to be up. Porcello is going to be up. And then the year after, Mookie and JBJ are going to be up. So,
well, you got one out of them.
Yeah, the window's closing, and you're not going to be able to bring back everybody. So, I mean, out of those 5, how would you rank them in terms of players you'd want to bring back?
I can cut Bradley just because you can find a good defensive outfielder easily.
Yeah, and he'll have lost a step by then. He'll be 33 if I'm not mistaken by then.
That's true.
Is he really that old?
Yeah, he's not young.
What?
Yeah.
He took a while to come up through the minors.
I think he did 4 years. I think he did 4 years in college and then a stint in the minors.
He's 28 right now.
He's 28. Okay, so he'll be 31. Wow.
No, it'll be 29. Right? Or wait, he'll be 30.
He'll be 30.
Yeah, I mean that's still like getting up there, but
I can still I can find a good defensive outfielder for $2 million.
Yeah. Yep. And they should have one in the system by then anyway. Betts is like priority number 1.
Yeah, and number 2.
2, yeah. Then probably Sale, and then Bogarts.
Yeah.
You
can replace Porcello. I mean, you probably already replaced Porcello by signing Evaldi for 4 years.
Ask your general manager. He tried that already. He got stuck with him anyway.
Yeah, like he goes to Dombrowski and he goes like, I'd like a 4-year deal. And then he goes like, well, I'm going to trade you because I'm not going to give it to you. And then he shows up in Boston 2 years later. It's like, you guys paid him what?
Porcello and Bradley are gone for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. I wouldn't be too shocked. But I mean, I guess that brings us to the Bruins, Mike, right?
Yeah. This
Are they
team's
good?
Weird. They're weird.
They're weird.
They look like they're world beaters in one night, and then they're losing to like some crap
Rangers
team the next night. I didn't want to say it. They were the first team that came to mind too.
That's the only Bruins game I've watched there. Tuukka Rask headed, and then
yeah, they have like a ton of like really young talent. They're just like oddly constructed.
Well, the thing is that the young talent's just like, I mean, the forwards at least just aren't producing. Like they slotted like Anders Bjork into the top 6 at the beginning of the season, and he didn't do anything. And then like they slotted Ryan Donato in the top 6. He didn't do much. Both went down to Providence. And then they tried like this Nordstrom guy in the top 6, and he got hurt. He was okay. And David Backes is just old and overpaid, so that didn't work out. They need another winger. They need a winger that can score.
You think they make a trade?
Yeah, I think they make a trade. I don't know for what or for who, but or like what they'd give up. But I mean, they're 4th in the division right now.
Well, I know a team that has a lot of wingers that are going to be on the trade market.
Yeah,
can't sell them fast enough.
Oh, we've got plenty of forwards.
I mean, as of right now, the Bruins would be the first wild card team. I mean, they're only a point behind Montreal and 2 points behind the Leafs, so they could easily be second in the division while all is said and done, but they need help on offense, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny, like years ago you would have said like the thing they need the most is like a second liner defenseman. Like we were always just like, oh, they're like that one defenseman away, and now it's like, oh, they're like that one forward away. Like It's just shifted totally. And like I thought they had it in Nash, but that guy just sucks. But his career just ended.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the Rick Nash pickup when we got him. He was like that. The David Krejci's always excelled with like those big power forward type scorers in his career, and I think that they were trying to hope catch lightning in a bottle like one more year with that. But Nash just looked slowed down, and honestly, like the goals that he was scoring for us just were like the type of goals where you didn't need him to score. Like there was one where I think we were beating like the Leafs like 5-0 at one point last year in the playoffs, and he scored like the 6th goal. Like it's cool, but you want him to be like that difference maker, which he clearly wasn't anymore.
Yeah,
he really wasn't.
I was so excited for it. It just didn't work.
I want him to win so badly. Like I loved that guy. You could see, like, I know he's saying it's concussions, which it's a serious issue, and you have to believe that's part of it. But I think just the rest of his body was just done too.
Yeah,
because this is a guy who was drafted 1st overall by an expansion franchise at 18, and just started playing 82 games a year. So when you've been playing since 18,
so good with the Blue Jackets. I mean, even with the Rangers for those first couple of years they had him, like he was just. He could get you, 30 to 40 goals a season, no problem. And he had the size and the strength. Like, he just, that prototypical power forward scorer.
He'd kill penalties. He'd score 30 goals. He'd do everything. But, he's playing 82 games a year from the 18 to crossing 30. And that when you play that power forward being physical, it just wears on you.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see. When's the trade deadline?
I want to say it's the end of February. That's usually when it is. You can look. I know the NBA trade deadline's next Thursday, a week from today. But I'm pretty sure it's like February. The beginning. It's the end of 25th.
That's not bad.
So
you got a month to figure it out and find.
Yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen between now and then in terms of how they play. So,
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
If they don't do that well, I was thinking this last year. If this year doesn't, because I know they have a young core, and I really like it. I kind of like the future they have. It's going to take time to gel. If they don't make a run this year, do you just consider moving some of the old guys just to get more shifts for the young ones, and just saying, okay, maybe we'll struggle for another year or two, but it'll help us in the long run?
The problem with that is we're still in Peter Chiarelli hell in terms of contracts. Like David Krejci has a no-trade clause, and he's making the most money on the team.
That's ridiculous.
And he still has like another.
Didn't they try to trade him?
Yeah, but he didn't want to leave. That's been the thing. Tuukka Rask is still making like $8 million a year, and he has a full no-trade clause. So like that's the big problem that they've run into, because that's why they could never do like a full rebuild, because all those contracts that Chiarelli signed were like they all had like either like limited no trade clause or like full no trade clause.
Oh my god!
Because he's a moron, and I'm glad that he got fired in Edmonton too.
Wow.
The best player in the world is playing for that team, and they're doing nothing. So
Krejci has this year, next year, and the year after.
At like 7.3
all at 7.5.
7.5, yeah. Yeah, and he hasn't topped like 50 or 60 points in the last like 2 seasons or something like that. So,
oh, well, that's fun.
Yep, that's the thing. And then they signed. I mean, this was on Sweeney, but then they signed Backus to that absurd contract too, which I didn't mind the signing. But why are you giving him 5 years?
Yeah, I liked it at the time, just based on where they were.
At 33 years old. At 33 years old, though, 5 years. I would have given him like 3 years.
Yeah, it's too many. It's just bad takes from Peter Chiarelli.
Yeah. So bad. But so that's why I don't know if they could trade off veteran pieces. I mean, I don't see them trading Bergeron or Marchand, who are still playing at an extremely high level, and they already have a young core. So really, like, what are you going to try to get for?
That's true.
At this point, they're going to try to trade off the younger pieces for veteran players, I'd say.
Makes more sense, yeah, to build off what they have. Huh. Well, we'll see. So I think this brings us to the end. We're going to do like a cold takes on ourselves. Do we all want to go around and say our worst, or do we want to go around and say what we think the other's worst was?
We should do that one.
The second one?
Yeah.
James, you can go first.
Collins was the 2013 Red Sox, and James Young.
Fuck off. That James Young take isn't cold yet.
Because he's still only like 20.
Yeah, still the youngest player in the NBA.
He drafted him at like 12, so.
Mike?
Are you asking James what mine was, or am I going?
You can go.
I'd have to agree. The 2013. I think that's for all of us, though. Even though I was like,
Colin was so far off that Mike and I don't look that cold on it.
Yeah,
like Mike and I going 75 doesn't look bad.
Yeah, you guys were both just like, oh, they're gonna be fine, and I just like exploded on the other side of the room. And I was just so mad.
The thing is, like, a lot of it, you were right. You're like, the Shane Victorino contract's stupid. The Gomes contract is stupid. Like, the Napoli contract's stupid. They all turned out to be bad contracts. They just had one good year that all lined up.
I remember one take. I remember one take was he said that David Ortiz would never play another game for the Red Sox. And he ended up playing like 3 more years.
Oh, yeah. He had all the heel stuff, though. I was right on that, too, though. I was like, he can't walk. And he retired. He's like, yeah, I can't walk.
He was still playing at a high level.
I was just too early. Peak 2 way, way too early. I think James didn't want... Were you the one who didn't want Marcus Smart?
I didn't want Marcus Smart. Yeah. I was going through some old episodes the other night when we were talking about doing this, and there was just one of them where I'm like, yeah, like, they have to try and lose because the last thing they want is the 9th pick, so they get that guy from... I couldn't even remember his name. Like, that guy from Oklahoma State who punched a fan. Like,
that's amazing.
I'm like, and then I'm like, or Dougie Buckets.
Well, okay.
I'll give myself Dougie Buckets, but no, I wasn't too high on Smart. I was really high on Fab. This was pre-show, but I remember I was really high on Fab Melo. And then, like, I watched him play in the summer league, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, 10 years ago, this would be great. But he doesn't fit. Yeah, rest in peace. He just doesn't fit. And I think that's when I gave up on the whole, okay, we don't need a rebounder and shot blocker, because those guys just aren't effective anymore. You have to do something else. If rebounding and shot blocking is your forte, you're in trouble. Like, that's why I don't think Robert Williams is going to pan out. He just doesn't fit today's NBA. He needs another skill.
Well, it's like the Jordan Mickey thing. You know, like he's just like kind of like Jordan Mickey.
They were both Jordan Mickey and Robert Williams they were both in the SEC. They had similar numbers. They both were like conference leader in blocks. Grabbed a lot of rebounds. Like, they're the same player. They're just doing it again.
That's weird. That is odd. Those were fun though. I feel like we should just keep digging those up. I feel like we'll find better ones.
Oh yeah,
find gems.
Our love for Chris Babb. I mean, catapulted our like site, but he didn't really catapult himself.
It was just a preseason game against the Knicks, and they were down by like 20 with 3 minutes left, and then he just made 8 straight threes. Or something ridiculous. And I'm like, guys. Like, this is Ray Allen, but better. Like,
it was not.
No.
Well, this was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was fun while we still pretend to like each other for the next, 48, 36 hours, and then we'll just stop talking. James might die. I might die. Who knows?
I appreciated both of you guys and many others, like, as overtime was starting. I think one of you guys texted me, like, how's your heart rate? The other's like, are you even alive? Like, I got...
Dude, that Kansas City game was very stressful.
I was so high on the Rams that I had no idea what was happening. I tuned in with like 5 minutes left. I'm like, what's even happening in this game? Like,
it was terrible. They were up 14-0, and the first half was ridiculous. If you haven't seen it,
that's the thing. I think I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated because it wasn't even just about the score. Like, the Patriots were 110% the better team than the Chiefs in that first half. Yeah. And like, they just like pissed it away. Like, it could have been like 28-0 going into the half. And they just like beat themselves essentially.
Yeah, if you get a shot, you should go back and watch like a condensed version of that first half, because like you'll just be like, what the hell happened? Because
I remember at one point we went up, and then Brady threw that interception in the end zone, and I was like, oh, here we go, which was dumb. But then like
that was a McDaniel special.
The Chiefs marched down the field, and it was like 3rd and 6 or something, and the Chiefs were in field goal range, and Mahomes took like an awful sack, and that pushed them out of field goal range. And then we came down and scored. So I was like, wow, okay. But we just like kept beating ourselves.
James, did you see that pick?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they were like running all over the Chiefs in the first half. I think Michelle had 100 yards in the first half, but like I think it was the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, and like they're on like the half-yard line, and McDaniels goes, I know, I'll run a play-action pass to the dead middle of the field.
I've seen that before. I mean, he was my offensive coordinator for a year, so I've seen it. And Brady
just buried a linebacker in the numbers. Like, didn't even look.
Yeah.
No, like, Josh McDaniels with Sam Bradford and, like, Michael Sims Walker as the leading receiver is not that great.
I am just, like, gonna feel so sorry for the team that gets him as their head coach, and it's gonna end up being our team, and like it's gonna be the most depressing thing in the world. All right, guys. Well, we'll have to do this again, unless we all stop talking after the Sunday.
Oh, we're definitely gonna stop talking after Sunday.
Yeah, we probably will.
We're gonna definitely stop talking before Sunday.
I feel like we'll be civil until like halftime, and then all of a sudden it will get crazy, and we'll be like, "All right, like fuck off now."
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
All right, guys.
I look forward to some Adam Levine, though.
That's when we'll stop talking. That's when we'll kick it off.
Adam Levine, Travis Scott, and Big Boy. It's just the most absurd halftime lineup of all time.
God. All right, guys. Good talking to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
See ya.